What's up, y'all? It's Matt Hoffa of the legendary My Expert Opinion Show. Y'all can check me out in Chattanooga for the Hip Hop Summit out there, October 14th. I'll be there. I hope you're there too. Salute.
It's all around. Look around you, man. You can find inspiration. You can find discouragement. It all depends on you. Perception is everything. Some people just hear another song. Some people hear the greatest. A nigga used to have no chill. Nowadays I bump side A. Traffic going bumper to bumper, stuck on the highway.
So we call double time now.
Right.
Right. You labeled as
The triplet style.
the triplet style.
And
why was it the triplet style?
it was the triplet style because
Can you give us an example?
I told you I ain't doing that. Nah, but I have to in order for you to understand, though, a little bit at least. So the double time is on really a beat that under normal circumstances, they just they just halved the position of the kick and the snare. You know, so where they really rhyming and they slow the beat down, so they really rhyming regular, but they rhyming fast like you know, like what who is double time.
Right.
You know, the Jaz-O relax that, ever heard of me? Worldwide Originators say word to me. Yeah, so that's double time. With triple time is like my rhyming and singing technique is affordable, living in luxury and it's affordable. No other brother is better than me, the J, the A, the Z. So it's over a different type of beat. Thank you. Finally got a rhyme out of him. Right? I'm a ham, right? I'm officially a ham. Nah, but I wanted to explain it to you, and that, you know, so the difference is that the beat is slower, and as far as time signatures involved, you're talking about when they say triplets, it's the equivalent to like 24ths. So it's like 24th notes. So you have in a measure you have quarter notes. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, right? You know, eighths you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then so on, so on. 16th, you know, I don't know if I could still clap that fast, but but you know, so then it's 24ths because 24ths is like in between 30 seconds and 16ths.
Right.
So it's like if anybody in here ever with a drum machine, and that's how I learned a lot of this shit.
Yeah, 24 is like.
Yeah. So that's where the 24ths, and that the reason why it's called the reason why I said triplets, because in the drum machine you'll have with the I guess the quantization, you'll have 16ths, and then you'll have 16 triplets. So in between 16ths and 32nd notes, you have what they call 16 triplets, which is really 24th notes.
Right.
So yeah, that's where I got the triplet style.
Triplet style.
And actually what happened was me and KG was making a tape, and I was writing the rhyme. I'd already written the rhyme, but I was trying to figure out how I'm gonna say this one line. There was too many syllables to fit in that one line. So I basically bunched it in, but it had to be on time. So what happened was I just tripled it up. I don't remember the line, but you know, but we made the tape, and after we were listening to the tape, KG kept going back to that part, and he was like, yo, you should do that more. And you know, I ignored him because I thought I was the best in the universe. And then till later, you know, me and Jay started, you know, this was a little later on, me and Jay started writing together, and you know, he came up with the idea. He was like, yo, that one present type. So when I did it, he was saying like, yo, we should do a whole song. This was after I got the deal, of course, and after the first album. See, Jay is like, he's sort of like with this music shit, he's like my antithesis. Like, I don't really give a fuck about fame and all that shit. I just, if anything, my goal, even being here, is to set the record straight, so that nobody could say, you know, this is that, and Jazz said this, Jazz said, okay, Jazz said this, okay, how can we verify this shit,
Right.
you know? And I'll make sure, because my ego can't stand it. So I'm not gonna say some shit and then somebody can come out the blue and be like, nigga, you know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? So, so he's the marketing. He was like some way to become more popular, and he was like, yo, we should do a whole song like that. And I was like, man, that's a good idea. So we did the song, and that was the song, the first one, called The Originators, with the triplet style.
Right. And Jay was the one who said we should do that.
He says it in the beginning of the song. He said, you know, something to the effect of niggas can't understand the old triplet style, you know.
So was the Originators a group?
Nah, it was just the name of a song, and we weren't a group. It was like, cause my deal, it was me. It was the Jazz, and that was it. But I had that same, you know, we going to the club mentality. Like, nah, I ain't leaving niggas behind, you know. Cause if other niggas would have stepped up, I'd have been like, yo, nigga, the back cover, let's do it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yeah, like I wanted him to get shine before, you know, whatever he planned on doing, because he was rhyming. So I knew he was interested. I know he wanted to do it, but I think that he understood the realities, and he understood like the uniqueness of my deal. So it wasn't so much like a I'm gonna get a deal like that too easy, but he understood that, yeah, I'm gonna get a deal, and I'm gonna go beyond that, you know. And it turned out like, you know, he found out that what I heard said was that my management was trying to sign him, and they were done with me and all that other shit because of the fact that, you know, I become an Ansar, and, you know, I was like, I'm not really fucking with y'all like that, or any of that stuff. And
Can you break all that down?
me becoming an Ansar?
Yeah.
Okay, so when I was young, it used to be these guys that come on the train. They said they had a school for kids, and they didn't get public funding, so they were asking for donations, and they wore what I now know as a white jalabia, and some of them wore emmas and other, you know, headdress, and so I ain't know who the hell these dudes were, but you know, you didn't feel uncomfortable like they was gonna, you know, come from under their shit with the, you know, with the joint and be like, all right, everybody drop your shit.
Right.
But I didn't know. So later on, I found out this was when I had just come back too from going to college, and it was this after school gym, the actual junior high, excuse me, the junior high school that I had gone to, IS 318. They had an after school center, and a lot of the cats from the projects, you know, we went there and balled, you know, from 3 o'clock to about 5:30. And it just so happened that these Sunni Muslims, they had it open, like they were, you know, they were in charge of opening the gym.
Right.
And so I wasn't eavesdropping, but, you know, shit, I could hear. And, you know, I just heard them talking about stuff like, yo, yeah, these, you know, those guys, they jammed up. And I was curious, like, who they talking about? So then, you know, I started just doing light research, and, you know, I found out who they were talking about. And then
Who were they talking about?
they were talking about Ansars. They were talking about Dr. York. They were talking about his philosophy and his perspective on things was all crossed up, because Sunnis are known to be traditional, you know, in the aspect of Islam.
Right.
But so, and you know, let it be known that I'm not a part of, and I'm not saying it like it's something not to be a part of, but I'm not a part of any of that stuff anymore.
Right. But at the time, why was it appealing to you?
It was appealing to me because it represented a type of discipline. And let me be frank for a second and stop being Jaz-O. I'm gonna be frank. I was looking for God, because you know, it's like in the hood, like everybody talking about somebody like, who the fuck is this guy? So I was looking for God, and so I searched in the places that I figured God would be. So I opened up the Bible and I started reading. And I was like, man, this shit don't really come together like a novel, like part 1, part 2, like it's all bunched up. So I didn't really get the picture.
Oh, did you get the picture of how much murder and
I did get the picture of that.
Yo,
right.
Yo, son, the Bible is one of the illest books ever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in doing that, I was still searching. So I said, okay, I have a perspective on that, you know, between relatives and what I read in the Bible. And I realized that the perspective that I was given wasn't a realistic perspective. So I ventured into the Quran. And, you know, I started.
Did the Quran seem like an easier read?
No.
No, definitely not.
It was a bunch of stories. It wasn't pieced together. Definitely wasn't chronologically correct. So I basically, I was kind of like, what the fuck? So anyway, what led me toward the Ansars is that it was the more realistic and even though there was a lot of spiritual, quote unquote, spookism,
right,
going on or in the air or insinuated, it was still, I still gravitated toward it because it was something that I felt gave me something that I can add to myself. And it was a matter of like discipline, and it was a matter of
legacy,
a community. You know what I'm saying? Because what happened was I met a brother, and he had the table on 59th Street, and it's like, it was like fate, because you know, every week I would go, and after the whole monthly thing, I would go up to Bert Padel's office and pick up a check. You know, way before Zelle, you know what I'm saying? So, so go pick up a check, and he would be right there. He was selling oils, incense, and he had some books, and then he had what's known as the True Light tapes. So I was like, why not? So I started listening, and in short, a lot of the shit made sense to keep from putting y'all niggas to sleep. You know what I'm saying? A lot of it made sense. And
no, you believe it or not, there's a lot of people who would love to hear the breakdown of that information. Now, me personally, I used to battle those guys.
Oh yeah?
I knew a little something, and I would notice like some of their literature would have some obscure definitions or translations that didn't match up to what the original Hebrew text was saying.
Right.
So we used to go at it with those guys every time we seen them, because it's like, yo, why you selling this to people and it's not accurate?
Right. Misleading.
Right.
And to be totally honest with you, I had my doubts, and eventually I started doing like some of the editing for some of those books like a little further down the line. But, you know, they didn't want me involved in that because I was putting the work in, you know. But yeah, it was a lot of that. And a lot of it was because and I'm gonna say this, it is what it is. You know, you had people who were not really suited to do the editing and the translations and the proper sentence structure and things of that nature. And me, in my mind, I felt like, yo, you're gonna get a certain, just like if you do a certain genre of music, you're gonna attract a certain, you know, type of people to your music. So it's the same thing. Like I felt like, you know, you almost gonna get the dregs of society who can read a little bit. You know what I'm saying? That's how I felt, and I felt that it deserved more, because that type of stuff is what people were really looking for. And I think that a lot of people sifted through the, you know, the errors or what have you, and saw the big picture. And then some people just turned around and said like, yo, this shit is some bullshit. You know, and that's just what happened. You know, my experience, it was rough, but it was great. It made me a lot of who I am today, as far as discipline, as far as making choices, as far as just my heart. You know what I'm saying? Because some things happen to you and it makes you do like the experience. Some things happen to you and make you say like, hell no, I'm gonna do the opposite because that shit is fucked up.
A nigga used to have no chill, nowadays I'm on side A. Traffic going bumper to bumper, stuck on the highway. Takes so long to get from Monday to Friday, then you wake up on Sunday like it was just Friday. Crime pays an iron cage, had to find ways. I wasn't trying to slave a 9 to 5 till my dying days.